So when I file any writ of mandamus to any court, there is a two separate but parallel procedure. One is done by Department of State, that they are doing your actual visa processing, and then Department of Justice, which is who appoints this assistant U.S. attorney. So the entire job of a assistant U.S. attorney in writ of mandamus procedure is to maintain communication between Department of State and me, also between Department of State and the court. So there's three party here: me as an attorney, your attorney, court, who is like a judicial branch, and Department of State. We three are working with your case, and assistant U.S. attorney's sole job, like I would say 90% of the job, is just to maintain communication between these three organizations, three parties. Now, the question is how important it is to get a U.S. attorney appointed for your case. I would say medium important, because until and unless a U.S. attorney is appointed, I cannot directly communicate with the Department of State. So I have no idea what they're doing until and unless there is a U.S. attorney appointed. So when a U.S. attorney is appointed, I can directly email him or her. I can call them and say, hey, can you please contact with Department of State and keep me posted about the update of this case. So if there is no U.S. attorney, it's very hard for me to communicate with the Department of State. However, your actual work is being done by Department of State parallelly, whether there is a U.S. attorney appointed or not. So even though, I'm just giving a scenario, even though a U.S. attorney is not appointed for your case can still get approved anytime. It can be tomorrow, it can be after 1 week, it can be after 1 month. But problem is, I will have no contact with Department of State. That's why we try our best. We contact Department of Justice, we contact the court to get a U.S. attorney appointed that I can directly communicate with Department of State. So the bottom line, I know it's like a big explanation, and that's why I try not to, explain it all the time. So the bottom line is, getting a U.S. attorney appointed is medium kind of important, because without a U.S. attorney, I cannot directly communicate with Department of State. However, your work is being done by Department of State, even though there is no U.S. attorney appointed. So sometime when there is no U.S. attorney appointed, we contact Department of Justice and we remind them, hey, there is a case and there is no U.S. attorney appointed yet. Can you please appoint somebody? And sometime after we send email to them, they appoint somebody, and sometimes they don't. So we can always request them, but we cannot force them. And we are always constantly in touch with the court, constantly in touch with Department of Justice to get a U.S. attorney appointed and processing your application in an expedite fashion. But again, we can only request, we can only communicate with them. We cannot force anybody. So that's the short answer. I hope I answered your question. If you have anything else, I'm happy to answer it.